came up with a tool that helps me resist the most tempting food. Stay tuned and I'll show you. Hi, this is Debbie and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I talk about eating a whole food plant-based diet and how I've been able to do so for the past 2 years now. I'm coming up on my 2nd year anniversary as of January 17th. So if you're new to my channel, I'm so glad you're here and I hope that you enjoy this information. If you do, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell so that you can be notified for future videos. If you've been watching me for a little while, welcome back. So let me just get into it. I came up with a tool that really has helped me over the last, I would say, since Thanksgiving through the New Year's, the last couple of months during the holidays. I actually can use this tool anytime throughout the year, but especially when you're facing a period of time where you have a lot of parties and social interactions and you're not necessarily in control totally of what food is in your midst and what you're surrounded with. So you have office parties and extra friend gatherings, things that put you in a situation that it's all about the food, really. When you think about it, most of our celebrations are. So how do you control those situations, especially if you're not prepared for them? So I came up with a little tool that helps me, and for me, acronyms help. Things that I want to easily remember. So I came up with an acronym that's called SAVOR. I'll post it in the description box below. And it's SAVOR, and it's an acronym standing for See, Assessed, Vilify, Options, and Rejoice. So let me explain what I mean. See, the S is just for seeing the food. Perhaps it comes up unexpectedly, or maybe you know it's there, but first step is to see the food that you're looking at. Second is to assess it or acknowledge it. Maybe you go over to something in a little bowl and you think, what's that? And it could be a cheese dip, or it could be hummus, or it could be something good for you or not good for you. So you are assessing what it is and acknowledging it. Perhaps you already know that's chili cheese dip, and I know that that's not good for me. I don't eat cheese anymore. And so you've made that acknowledgement and assessment as to what you're looking at. And you know that it's not on your plan. If it is on your plan, enjoy. But if it's not, then the next step is V for vilify. And the reason I use such a harsh word is it's not that I want to think of it as, oh, I shouldn't have it, because shouldn't still leaves you options open. I want to make it a villain. I want to make it as definite as possible so that there's not really a maybe in my thinking. It's a yes or no. And if you vilify it, the way to do that is, now you may be looking at a food that you've eaten your whole life, and everybody else is eating it. But with vilifying it, you see that the food is perhaps meat or cheese or dairy or butter, things like that. And automatically your mind should go to why you don't eat it, why it's a terrible food for you. And the reason why is, if you've done your research and education, you've learned that that leads to a heart attack, especially in quantities, or that may lead to a stroke, or that may flare up an autoimmune disease that you've been struggling with. Perhaps it's nothing more than it just enables you or tempts you to binge on something. Perhaps it's something that's very, very salty or very, very sweet. In and of itself, it's not going to kill you one time, but it just leads you to a problem in your life. So, is that a good thing for you? No, it's bad. And I make it in my mind awful. That helps me with my decision process. So I vilify it. The next one is O, and that stands for options. So the first thing they always tell you when you're trying to do eliminate something in your life is to replace it with something else. Just saying no to somebody, no, you can't have that, without any other options is hard. But if you say, no, you can't have that, but here's what you could have, that makes it a lot easier. So for me, I'm always looking around, okay, I can't have the cheese dip, but what could I have? Perhaps I can have the hummus on a whole wheat cracker or a pretzel. Perhaps I could take something like some celery sticks and dip it into some salsa. Something else that you might be able to have. If it's something sweet, no, I can't have the donut, but oh look, someone brought in some fresh fruit. I can have that. So look at what your options are. You may have to be proactive and make sure you bring some options. And in the situation where there's no other food around, but at, say like at work, they're passing around donuts. They're giving you all a pat on the back, and so somebody, maybe a vendor or somebody, brought in donuts as a treat. There's no other fruit salad. There's no other fruit and vegetable tray. It's, do you want a donut or don't you? Maybe your option is to have a drink of water, a long drink of water. Perhaps some other type of beverage that you know that you can drink and it's good for you. Herbal tea, maybe something hot to drink. Something that will give you something in your stomach, but you're doing something other than eating that donut. That may be your only option, your best option. And your best option may be just to walk away. And that could be, sometimes what you have to do. But look around for your options. And then the last letter, R, I use that for two things. Number one, rejoice. And I say that because you need to give yourself a pat on the back. Why? Because you have done something that, first of all, you may never have been able to do this before. Most of the time, we've come to, or at least in my situation, we've come to this way of eating because we have tried everything else and nothing else has worked. In fact, if it has worked, we've never been able to stay on it, or we wouldn't be in this situation. So you're doing something you've never been able to do before when you master this. And secondly, you're doing something that thousands of others, in fact, probably more people, the most people that you know, have not been able to do. I get that all the time. People look at what I eat and they go, oh, that's great, Debbie, but I could never do that. I could never give up cheese, or I could never give up milk, or I could never give up my night ice cream that I have every night before I go to bed. I'm glad you can do it, but I just could never do it. It's hard. It's not easy. So you need to pat yourself on the back, congratulate yourself for being able to do something that most people can't do, and you may never have been able to do it either. But once you get some understanding and your mind is able and your brain is able to think about what you can do, you can do it. And I know because I've done it for 2 years now. And I'm very proud of myself, as you can tell. So give yourself a pat on the back. And the other word I use to stand for R is the word remove. As much as possible, remove yourself from that situation. And I know that's difficult when you're sitting down at a dinner party, when you're at someone's home. Sometimes you don't have the option to necessarily just get up and remove yourself. But if you can, that's ideal. Also, keep aware of your environment. If it's in your house, many times it's in your mouth. I just love that phrase, and I didn't make that up. I've heard it several times by other people. But boy, is that not the truth. If you can't have it out of your house because other people live with you and they want it, you can have it in a paper bag with their name on it. You can have it tucked in the back corner in a box, someplace where you're not visually seeing it each and every day you go in the cupboard or in the refrigerator, and having to have that in your face and going through this acronym all over again several times a day. It gets easier. Once you practice this, it gets a whole lot easier. But going through these steps of seeing the food, assessing the food or acknowledging what it is and that it's not on your food plan, it's not what you eat anymore. I'm just using my notes here. V for vilifying the food. Why don't you eat it? Because it's not only that it's not good or that it's not optimal, it's horrible. It's not good for you. Any food that's a #1 carcinogen, as in processed meats, any food that can cause stroke, clogged arteries, all kinds of other problems, even if it's just heartburn, it's no small thing. Any foods that destroys and hurts your body is a villain in my book. So vilify these foods. Remember why they're not good for you. O, options. Make sure you take a look at what else is around so that you can do something else to replace it. And sometimes there's not a lot of options, but many times there is, or just a tall drink of water. Something in your stomach so that you're not having to just say no. You can replace that no with something that you can have. And then R, rejoice. Remember, you did it, you can do it. And the final thing I want to leave you with is, this is small, even though it seems like a large thing. We eat 3, maybe 4 times a day out of a 24-hour period. Much more time is spent not eating than eating. So these are small moments. Also, you're not having to resist for even your whole meal. This is a small temptation. Once you make up your mind, you can move on to what you can eat or remove yourself from the situation. So what we're really talking about here is an activity that you're having to do just a few minutes throughout your day. Not every day, hopefully, and maybe only once in a great while, more frequently over the holidays. But it's just a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes that food is near you, in front of you, that you're offered it. Once that's done, you go on to eating what you can eat. And guess what? Everybody at the table is full. You're full, they're full. You're full with healthy food, they're full with whatever they ate. If it's unhealthy, then they're not only full, they're probably stuffed, they're probably lethargic, and they're on their way to food that's in their system that's not healthy for them. I don't even want to think about the damage that would do. But the point is, you're not. And don't forget, here we are in January. I'm continuing with eating healthy and getting good exercise, but other people are faced with, oh my gosh, I just gained 15 pounds over the holidays. I'm lethargic, my pants won't button or zip, I don't look good in my clothing, my face is broken out from too much chocolate or other foods that will cause that. I mean, they've got all the problems that you don't. You're just going on your merry way, doing what you've been doing and eating healthily. So it's a win for you. I hope that helps you. Remember, SAVOR, S-A-V-O-R. See, assess or acknowledge, vilify, options, and rejoice. If this does help you, or perhaps you have an acronym of your own that you use or a thought process you use, I'd love for you to mention it in the comments and share with us what you do. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, hit the like button if this has helped you. I hope you subscribe, because I will have a lot more videos coming up now that it's 2019. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time. Bye now.